What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming, the show where we talk about gaming news. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And we hope you guys had a good holiday weekend. If you don't celebrate the holidays, I hope you guys had a good weekend. So quick reminder to play Darksiders 2 and Kung Fu Panda, both offer for free on PlayStation Plus still this month. Play those. Come back at the end of this week. We'll be talking about it on Plus Club. And our game of the month is still Windward, a game on PC. It's a ship game. If you haven't played it, go check it out. If you don't play it, don't check it out. But we're still going to be talking about it at the end of this week for a separate show just called Game of the Month. We're going to start doing that. We talked about that on the game or channel update. And also, all of you guys who have been commenting on that, giving me feedback, I appreciate that a lot. It is awesome to know you guys are there and talking about the future of the channel. With that, we have 4 bits of news to talk about, and let's get into it.
So, as of recording, it is Christmas Eve right now, and the director of Overwatch, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was in front of a fireplace on Twitch.
Kaplan.
Being watched by over 30,000 people. They're not sure, 100% sure. There was a debate going in the comments whether it was looped footage or not. There was little miscellaneous like skits in there every once in a while. So maybe he was sitting there, maybe he wasn't. But how do we feel about this many people taking interest in that?
Do we know how long he was sitting there for? I mean, as of recording, he's still there, but like, he's been there for hours, right?
Yeah.
Has he left? Okay, so it's probably on a loop, or it is multiple shoots from the same camera angle, and somebody who is good at editing might have looped those. But I think it's interesting. It seems like nothing more than like a happy holidays type thing, and kind of it doesn't really seem like a publicity stunt, though. Like, nobody's going to be playing Overwatch because of this. But
I think it was more of a statement of people work on the holidays type thing as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. So it's neat. It's like they said, it's a quirky stream. That's what it seems like. I have not watched this yet, but I like when people do stuff that's out of the box, weird random shit. So that's just a lot of people, though. I mean, that's a lot of people. I think they're waiting for something. I feel like, and by the time this airs, maybe something will be revealed. But I think people are like, keeping an eye on it to see if they're gonna pop something out at the end and be like, oh, blah blah blah, it's coming out for Overwatch or something like that. So
maybe I think it's literally just a play off the fireplace thing that has become kind of popular over the holidays anyways. People live in apartments, don't necessarily have fireplaces, so it's a nice alternative. They still get to hear the roar of a fire. Sometimes you can match it with Christmas music. In this case, it's him sitting in a chair, mostly just sitting there doing random stuff every once in a while, though apparently he never drinks the milk next to him. I guess he tweeted that it was poisonous and that the cookies were a lie. So
I would not drink the milk either. I don't drink milk. Yeah, no, I that's what I'm thinking of this too. I just, with 39,000 people, I'm assuming some of them might be thinking something's going to happen, but you never know. Pretty neat though. Not really news, but still worth talking about. Any last words on Jeff Homie Kaplan chilling?
I think it was neat. Obviously, this isn't something we see, so we probably will now.
Yeah,
that it has been done, but
with that many people watching it too, it might become a tradition, the same as that fireplace shit that people watch.
Wouldn't that be a Twitch tradition? Wouldn't that be funny?
Maybe. Second bit of news: the co-op PC PS4 Star Trek game that originally was a VR experience is now available to anybody who's not even on VR. You can now play this with a controller or mouse and keyboard. They're just allowing people more options to play the game in hopes that this will bring in more people to join your crew. There's a little bit of information, but not really. I mean, you're getting the whole experience without VR. What do we think about a once VR game kind of going the opposite direction of a lot of games that kind of go to VR to open up its multiplayer experience to more people?
Well, I think that's exactly it. I remember when this was first posted, I saw people complaining that VR was losing an exclusive title, to which I would have to respond, it's kind of a niche game anyways, in a niche field right now. And you want the game to survive and you want a community to continue in it, you need to be more accepting of them trying to bring more players into it. I think it's a great idea. I would hate to sit there and play a game I love, regardless of the way I choose to play it, and then it just dies because there's not access for everyone. So, I don't know.
In certain instances, and I can't think of any right now, I could see where some people would maybe be annoyed that VR is not the only option for something that they might think is, the only way it should be played. I can't think of a reason for that, but I'm sure there is a million. But for a game that's a cooperative experience, where essentially you're just sitting in a fucking ship, hitting buttons, I don't know why people would be bothered by this. This is a good thing in every single way. It allows people who don't have the money to buy PSVR or don't care about PSVR to play a Star Trek game where they get to simulate being part of the bridge crew. If you're playing this game in VR and you have the ability to play with more people, that's a good thing. And who cares if they're not seeing it in VR? I mean,
Right.
like you are, and you get that cool experience. They may not get to have that experience, or they don't want to. But this is win-win. There's not one negative thing about it. It just grows a primarily cooperative multiplayer game, which is what you want for a game like this. So yeah, I can't think of anything negative about it. I think it's awesome. This is a game I've actually been waiting to pick up. I want to try it out, but I need to wait for you to do it as well, because it's not a game I'm going to be playing on my own. But
Right.
and it's worth mentioning too that they also gave it a 6 out of 10 on GameSpot. So not the best score, but not the worst score. Specifically, it's a VR game, so a lot of those get rated kind of harshly anyway because they're smaller experiences. People want to kind of compare them to full-on AAA titles. So I'm sure it's a great game. I actually heard a lot of good things about it too.
Yeah, anyone I've talked to who's played it has really enjoyed it.
But like you said, it's niche.
It
Like
is.
if you don't like Star Trek, you're not gonna give a fuck about this game.
No, exactly. I also don't know how much content is there, so hopefully Ubisoft, since they're already looking to do things to the game to keep people playing it, or to at least get more people playing it, they do updated missions and stuff like that as well. Just because people playing the game are going to get burnt out of doing the same missions over and over again. So hopefully that's something they have down the pipeline as well. But otherwise, yeah, I agree with you. It's win-win. For like that handful of people I saw complaining about it, I'm just kind of baffled by that.
Yeah, I'm baffled by it too. And unless they had because I don't just be like, wow, you're just complaining, fuck off. Like I do that sometimes, but like there might be legitimate reasons. I just don't know them. So if I was to find out, I'd be open to that. But because it's a smaller group of people for a already small game, niche game, I feel like these people are just on that fucking something's changing and I don't like it, so I'm gonna bitch about it, like bandwagon. It happens. They'll forget about it in 3 days, and everybody else who wants to play this game can now play it. So pretty cool. Like we both said,
sure.
it's a good thing. It's a good thing, I promise you. If you were one of the 6 people playing this game, hopefully there will be 8 here soon though, because I would like to try it. Any last words?
No.
There have been news.
So Apple has come out and said here very soon in the future, if you have a loot box game on iOS, you will have to disclose the odds for the prizes. We've seen this a little bit in other countries, specifically like China. You have to do that with this, and in this case, it's just another essentially group. But in this case, it's obviously just Apple users. So how do we feel about this, and do you think that this is going to spread to other mediums?
I hope so. I hope it spreads to everything. I'm not a huge fan of loot boxes, but I get them. They make sense. We've talked about them quite a bit, as everybody has. I think if you are going to have something that people can give you their actual money for a chance to win something, and they don't know what it is, that they should know what they're paying for. They should know the odds. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I would like to see loot boxes go the fuck away in general, but I'm not also going to say they need to. I just like to see them go away. But if they're going to stay around, this is good. I mean, it's the same as like when restaurants and stuff start putting like calories on the food you're eating. Like you should know as a consumer what you're buying.
Yeah.
Especially if it can negatively impact you. If the game has horrible fucking chances of you getting things, and you just keep spending money because you're just hoping, you're really stubborn, or maybe you're suffering from some kind of addictive personality and fucking you're willing to just give your money away, you could be getting fucked. So this is looking out for consumers, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who plays about 3 to 4 gotcha or loot box-based games on my phone, one of them already does this, and I appreciate that because that dictates whether I'm willing to spend real money on it or not. Most of these games will give you that currency anyway, so you don't have to spend that money to begin with. But like you said, for a person who is going to spend money, they need to know what they're getting into. I think 100%. It needs to be transparent. I know in Fate Grand Order, they do it already. So if you hit a button, it tells you every unit's name and their drop percentage chance, which is great. And then when they run campaigns, for certain things, it'll be increased drop rates and it'll tell you which ones and whatnot. So I don't think it's that difficult of a thing for people to implement in their games either. I mean, in Fate Grand Order's
They
case,
already know. They already know.
They
the
do already
chances.
know it. I just mean from a programming standpoint.
Yeah.
In Fate Grand Order's case, it's literally the link that opens up a web page within the app that just has that information.
Yeah.
They could do that in all of them pretty easily. As far as like it spreading, I would love to see this go to more things.
Everything.
Everything. And, I think, like you said, the practice itself, I don't think it's something that we need in gaming. However, it is there. It's probably not going away unless it becomes illegal.
Yeah.
So 100% transparency in every aspect of it, I think, is the next best thing. Because if you're going to spend money on something like this, you might be less inclined to if you realize just how bad your chances are. Or if you're just a person who has expendable income and don't care, it's not going to affect you either way. So.
Which is you're right, because if you're willing to spend the money and you read that and you go, okay, well, am I really willing to spend my actual money on something I have like a fucking 2% chance of getting? Like, fuck no.
Well, that's gracious.
Is that gracious?
That's pretty gracious.
Well, fuck. Okay, so yeah, like if it's really bad, that might deter you, and that might be a good thing because you might just be pouring money into something that you're being way too hopeful for.
Yeah.
So, which I don't want to be too extreme on it, but it is predatory in the sense that they are taking advantage of people's ability to do that. I'm not saying there's a good guy, bad guy, or victim here. It's just it's shady practices. It's disingenuous, not dishonest, disingenuous.
And I agree with the predatory thing 100%. I don't necessarily agree with the gambling aspect, though I do find it to be very similar. They're counting on that high you get when you do get those things.
Dopamine.
So, I play Final Fantasy Brave Exvius probably most out of any of the gotcha games I do play. And there is a sense of excitement when you see that rainbow crystal drop. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if you're using in-game currency to buy in-game boxes in certain games and you get that random like drop or whatever, it's just they took like loot chests in like Diablo and they put it on a financial scale of just being able to just buy those and see what you get. But because there's a thrill on like, oh shit, am I gonna get it? Am I gonna get it? But at the point where they can start milking you for money to do that, it's a shitty system. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm not the type of person to tell anybody they can't do anything unless it's actually harming people. And this is kind of close, but not quite, because people can make the decision to do this.
Yep.
So that's where it's at. Any last words? Last bit of news, they are already working on a new Zelda game for the Switch. AG Aonuma has confirmed that his team has begun work on the new entry. And there's not a whole lot of news other than that. Obviously, the last Zelda Breath of the Wild was very popular, very successful. It is interesting to note, though, that they are already producing another one. They're already working on it. A lot of times we get longer breaks, even though it could be on the same engine. So it makes sense that they'd be able to get it done faster. What do we think about them making another Zelda so quickly? And what do you think about it? How does it relate to the success of the last game?
I think it's absolutely has to do with the success of Breath of the Wild. I also Though I am surprised how quick it is. I feel like they always seem to do Zelda games in batches of 2. You had Ocarina of Time,
Majora's Mask.
and then almost immediately Majora's Mask came out. And then they had, I think they even mentioned it here, Skyward Sword came out, and they almost immediately started making Breath of the Wild. That got delayed a bunch, otherwise it probably would have came out sooner, and on the Wii U instead. So I think it's just something that they're pretty regular on, to be honest, when it comes to the
I just don't
series.
remember being this quick.
Either.
But yeah, it is, regardless of the small variable of how quickly they do it. They have always been pretty adamant about producing another Zelda pretty quickly after the other one. And like I said, it's probably because they've already developed an engine, don't want that to go to waste. They don't want to start working on a whole new engine if they already used it for one game. And it makes complete sense. The last one got voted for like game of the year by everything. Everyone loved it. It is a great game. It's one of the console selling titles for the Switch. So yeah, it makes complete sense. My only concern here is, and it's a light concern, is I would hate to see Zelda get to a point where they are making them not annually, because I doubt they'd ever do that. Nintendo's never really had a record of doing that with their games.
Yeah.
They do produce games or create games pretty quickly, but they have so many different franchises that they're, here's Donkey Kong, here's fucking Kirby, here's blah, blah, blah,
Right.
which is great. I'm glad they have that many properties that they can produce so many games. But yeah, I would hate to see one of those become a regular release, where you're getting a new one every like 1-2 years. Although they don't have one, so it'd probably be good to start doing that. Just Zelda is such a big and like epic scaled game, especially now, that I'd like to see them be inspired before they just jump into the next one.
I don't know. I think they got a good business plan with their IPs right now, because you usually get like one Mario Kart, you get one Smash Brothers, you get one major Mario title on each system, and then you get their rapid fire games or stuff like Mario Party, their Mario sports games and stuff like that.
Where the fuck's Mario Party at?
Dead.
I'm ready for that. Yeah, people don't like the last couple iterations, and like that's fine. But like, let's make a good one. I miss the old Mario parties.
Yeah, I like them.
I kind of cut you off.
That's
Sorry.
okay. Well, I was just saying, the one thing I think Nintendo needs to work on is, for a long time they did ignore a lot of their IPs, and I think we're seeing them kind of pull away from that now, because you do see, I do believe there was a Metroid game coming out. There's Kirby, I think, as well. I mean, series that they kind of either like stopped making or they pushed onto their handheld. They need to come back, because the biggest problem the last 2 systems have had is first party games didn't come out that often, and they didn't have a lot of third party support. We've already seen with the Switch, third party support is a lot better.
They've corrected every fucking problem I've had with them, with the Switch and all the games they've released. Like we've said before, they released the fucking Mario game and the Zelda game in the same year.
Yeah, well, and I just want them to stay strong on the first party game.
Yeah.
Because the one complaint we keep having when it comes to Xbox is the first party support is just, for games, is just not there. It's all third party games. Sony and Nintendo are killing it. So I would love to see that continue.
Yeah, Nintendo came out swinging big time. It's crazy. And
I think this shows that too. So.
Yeah. No, yeah, and that is a good point. Like, with their prior record of the last 2 consoles, with people's disappointment with them, and with them lacking first party and third party games, not really a whole lot of things going on with the Wii U. It is comforting to know that they already started off strong, and they're already ramping. Like, Xbox could learn a lesson from that. Like, I know people are like, well, what are they going to do, another Halo? Well, it'd be kind of nice to know that they were doing that, because right now there's not a whole lot they're really talking about when it comes to Xbox exclusives. So it is a positive thing that Nintendo is going, you know what, we did this really well this year. Guess what? We got fucking more big things coming.
Yep.
So it's a good thing. That kind of sways my concern of that. I still, in long term, though, would be a little apprehensive to see a game like this become too regular. But I have no reason to believe that. So it's just a concern if that were to be a thing. But
with this game series in particular, I agree with you. I do feel they need to
Mario Kart be fine. Fucking
they need to dig back into their old IPs and start
Mario Tennis.
at least making them, or like what they showed with Splatoon, make new ones. They did take a gamble with was it ARMS? So I mean, keep doing stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be big epic budget games like Zelda and Mario. You can have first party games that are more simple designed, and if something there clicks, you can spend more money on the next entry.
Yeah.
So,
you should pick up ARMS. I want to try it. Is it a full price game?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm willing to spend that on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too much of a gamble. I don't even know much about it. It just looked interesting. I'd like to support it if it's good. I just have no idea. I never played Splatoon. They made a second one, so apparently it's good. I should play that too.
Yeah, I do kind of want to pick up Splatoon 2, and I need to pick up the Mario Kart, and I don't have Zelda, so I need to pick that up as well.
You're behind.
Too many games.
Yep. Yeah, so let us know in the comments. What do you think about Zelda already being made again? Do you care about loot boxes? Do you think they're predatory? Do you think they're gambling? Do you think they're bad? Do you think they're good? Do you not mind them? Star Trek. Have you played it? Do you want to play it? Are you more interested now because you don't have to have PSVR? Let us know. And I think it's going to do it for this episode of Taste Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr and Twitter and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out my streams on the channel, or our streams on the channel. If you miss them, they're uploaded. Check me out on Twitch. Sleep Division, all one word. Should probably switch that to something else. A little more channel friendly. And yeah. As always, my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
Until the next episode, we actually have quite a bit of episodes coming out this week, so you guys got another full week. That should be coming out soon. Until then, have a good week, guys, and take it easy.